Bray Wyatt counts the pin, then turns into the Fiend again, and Cena teleports away.
Literally.
A hooded figure appears on the Titantron, says the truth will set us free. And then we see DeVille and Ziggler have been working together to get Ziggler to fuck Mandy Rose. Then Otis gets a match with Dolph Ziggler at WrestleMania, and not one motherfucker asked who the hooded figure was.
Well,
the thing is, I didn't think she looked that bad, and then she just decided to carve her face all this shit.
Yeah, she's addicted to the North.
She looks like the 80-year-old women on those Desperate Housewives shows.
Yeah, just trying to cling on to what they have.
And alludes to RKOing Edge for his own good, so his kids can still have a father or some shit.
Because he needed to stop Edge because he says he saw that look in Edge's eyes that he thinks he can come back and do this thing full time, but one injury away from being a cripple, basically. So he needed to stop Edge from coming back. So that's why he did the concerto.
Okay.
Yes. Aleister Black comes back, then we need that exact version. The creaky thing, the music.
Nope, it's gonna be your boy, Aleister Black. He's black. He's black.
And it's not racial.
WrestleMania Overload. We are doing night 2. WrestleMania 35 to 36.
36.
36. And we are still in the Performance Center. Stephanie opens again. She lets us know that we'll be watching our wrestling in a closed set and other locations just to bring smile to our faces. Then they played the same fucking hype video as night 1, which I thought was lazy. And
I gotta be honest with you. So I watched this live when it first came out, and then here on our retro review, I watched it again. And I'm talking about night 1 and night 2. So it took me until now to realize that that was supposed to be Jack Sparrow. So through all the watch-alongs, it took me until now to figure that out.
I do know it was horrible.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't put too much stock in it at all.
Well, they apparently did because they played it twice. And unfortunately, Gronkowski didn't pass away in his sleep the night prior, and he's still the host. And that's all he says. I'm still here. And then we had a girls match for the NXT girls belt. And they had Charlotte win the developmental title on WrestleMania.
They did. This was the first of the Rhea Ripley Charlotte Flair matches. This actually showed me a lot from Rhea Ripley, the fact that she was selling that leg injury the way she was. And also point out that this was probably one of the better iterations of the artist known as Charlotte Flair, looks-wise.
I'll have to go back and check.
Yeah. Of the looks, this is probably one of the better ones.
See, the thing is, I didn't think she looked that bad to begin with. And then she just decided to carve her face all to shit. She has LA face now.
Yeah, she's addicted to the North.
She looks like the 80-year-old women on those Desperate Housewives shows.
Yeah, just trying to cling on to what they have.
And I think she's younger than us.
She is.
So
Not by much, but
she shouldn't be acting like an 80-year-old Desperate Housewife.
that's true.
Anything else about Charlotte and the other one?
Rhea Ripley. And they played a video package saying how Rhea Ripley, when she got into the business, she was compared to Charlotte Flair because she had the long blonde hair look. So she changed that, and then so she cut her hair and went gothic because she didn't want to be compared to Charlotte Flair. She mutilated herself to not look like Charlotte Flair or not be compared. Looking back, probably a good move because now she's Rhea Ripley.
She didn't look that gothic.
I'm just saying now she's gothic.
I see. Okay. Well, then they did an advertisement for Big Show's sitcom, The Big Show. The series was canceled after one season, ending with a Christmas special.
Oh, he got a whole season?
Oh, yeah. It premiered in April, and in August, Netflix opted not to renew for a second season. I just thought that was funny. And then they spent part of night 2 recapping night 1. Then we have Aleister Black versus Bobby Lashley. This is a battle between Raw's most dominant superstars. And Lashley is pulverizing Lana with his throbbing manhood at this time. And Cole said Lana is Lashley's wife. Did they get married?
Yes.
I didn't know they actually got married.
That was they like smeared cake all over Rusev.
Here, rub yourself with this while I plow your ex-wife. She kind of looked worn out too.
Yeah, she was in character.
Well, it starts off with Black trying to grapple with Lashley like a dumbass. Naturally, he's easily overpowered, and he ends up getting Lashley out of the ring. He goes for a moonsault off the top rope. Lashley moves out of the way, but Black lands on his feet, and Lashley just hits a belly-to-belly suplex on the floor. That fucks Black up. Lashley tosses Black back in the ring and just has his way with him. And he hits a spear in the corner, a vicious neck breaker, and Lashley just laughs menacingly. He goes for his delayed suplex, but he gets blocked. Then Lashley just hits a suplex anyway. Then he hits a power slam, and he goes for the spear, but Black blocks it. He kicks Lashley in the face, and he hits Lashley with a flurry so intense that Lashley has to bail to the floor. Then Black hits his moonsault from the top rope. And he tosses Lashley back in the ring, then gets hit with a crossbody that totally wasn't a spear, even though it looked like one. Then Lana gets on the apron for some reason. And Lashley goes to finish Black with the Dominator, and Lana goes, "No, a spear." So Lashley drops Black like a simp and goes for a spear. And Black hits him with a Black Mass, 1, 2, 3. And then Lana has the balls after the match to look angry at Lashley. Likewise, Black walked away like he didn't just luck into a victory. Oh, yeah, I did something. No, motherfucker. You're lucky that this guy is a simp.
It was funny. He was like, she's like, "No, spear," and he's like, "Yeah, let's go, one, babe."
God damn.
If I recall, this is already close to the end for them because she keeps costing him matches.
Well, his dumbass keeps listening.
True. But presentation-wise, I liked that music from Lashley.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Both of their entrances were all, or well, at least the theme music.
Yeah. And if Aleister Black comes back, then we need that version, that exact version, the creaky thing, the music.
Nope, it's gonna be your boy, Aleister Black. He's black. He's black. He's Aleister Black.
And it's not racial.
Well, Bayley and Sasha had an interview. I skipped it.
Bayley's complaining that she has to defend her title in a 5-way gauntlet. It wasn't a gauntlet. It was just a 5-way elimination match. And they run down who's in the match, and turns out Sasha Banks in the match. And they asked her what happens when it's them two left. And Bayley's like, "Oh, I know what you're trying to do, so I'm not going to answer your stupid question." She leaves, and then the interviewer, I forgot who it was, asked how bad does Sasha Banks want to win the title, because it's the one title that's eluded her. And she said, "I guess you're just going to have to find out with everybody else. Don't worry, that's never going to come up."
Well, then Gronkowski's interviewed. Yay. And he talks about his butt buddy Mojo Rawley winning the 24/7 title the night before. Gronkowski vows to win the stupid thing by the end of the night. And then for some reason, this piece of shit gets a hype video. Otis and Mandy Rose have a thing. And then one day, Otis asked Mandy out. And we cut to Otis getting ready. And he's, trying to smell all good and get his hair right. And then he gets a text saying that Mandy's going to be late. And he's like, all right. And then he's walking to the fancy restaurant that Rose is waiting for him in. And we see that bastard Dolph Ziggler is cock blocking Otis. And then we cut to some goober telling Mandy that he hurt his boy Otis for inviting Dolph on their date. Mandy's like, well, I just ran into Dolph at the restaurant. It's no big deal. The goober says, well, why did you text Otis that you were going to be late? And that confuses the fuck out of Mandy. And then the plot thickens. Then it cuts to Dolph Ziggler coming out just to show Otis a bunch of pictures of him. He shows a bunch of pictures of him and Mandy Rose having a good time with him. Yeah, so Dolph and Otis, I guess, fight for a week or two. And then Dolph tries to kill the goober with steel steps, and Otis comes out to save the goober. And I thought Sami Callihan butted into the feud, but it was something infinitely more dumb. A hooded figure appears on the Titantron, says the truth will set us free. And it plays a video of Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville in the back. She's talking about how much she likes Otis and yada, yada, yada. And she goes to leave for a date with Otis. And then her friend Sonya Deville is the one that tells Otis Mandy's going to be running late. And then we see Deville and Ziggler have been working together to get Ziggler to fuck Mandy Rose. Then Otis gets a match with Dolph Ziggler at WrestleMania. And not one motherfucker asked who the hooded figure was.
Well, first of all, this whole storyline, obviously, for us non-wrestling people, this was actually a pretty good storyline that they played out. It was basically a a Beauty and the Beast storyline, obviously. Otis was trying to get in Mandy Rose's DMs, and Mandy Rose, being who she is like, oh, a guy like Otis could never get a girl like Mandy Rose. So that's what they're kind of playing up. And Dolph Ziggler, he's much more Mandy Rose's speed, because look at him. He's chiseled out of granite.
He also fucked Sonny.
Did he?
Oh, yeah.
Not this current version of Sonny.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Was... like when it was something to brag about.
Yeah, it was back when I think he was in the Spirit Squad, maybe.
Oh, well, good for him.
Yeah.
But the hooded figure. So that was the hacker. The hacker was a running storyline in WWE where this hacker would show up and reveal the truth. Not just in this storyline, just any storyline. They would reveal the truth, and apparently they always had footage of like the real story that was going on. So they would just expose people, basically. Unfortunately, we would never find out who the hacker was because the storyline was just dropped.
So it's like the Raw GM?
Yes.
Ah. Oh.
Now, Mustafa Ali, he said that he was supposed to be the hacker. Like after his release, he said he was the hacker.
That makes sense.
Don't know if that was true or not, but that would be racially correct if it were him. Because I don't think they had any Asians in there. Maybe it would have been Shinsuke. But that guy was speaking good English, so it couldn't have been Shinsuke. Tozawa, could have been Tozawa. But yeah, it was something that was happening often, and it was getting built up, and it's like, oh, who's the hacker? And this is also around the time Retribution showed up too, so there's a lot of stuff going on.
Well, that completely distracted me with this match because I'm like, who the fuck was that hooded figure?
Yes.
I'm expecting the hooded figure to drop from the rafters or some shit. Nothing. There was no hooded figure.
Yes. To this day, we don't know who it was.
That bums me out.
Just dropped. But it was little things like that made the difference between like a Triple H run WWE and a Vince run WWE. Maybe it fails, maybe it doesn't, but something as simple as a hacker and it's a mystery man, and it got people talking, and then they just drop it.
It was not even that it was good. I just wanted to know who it was.
Yeah, but it's something to talk about.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, then we get Ziggler versus Otis, and Ziggler comes out with Deville. Otis comes out just ready to fight, and Dolph hits a super kick, and Otis has to roll out of the ring, and Dolph chases Otis to the floor and just starts tossing him around before throwing him back in the ring. And then Dolph just kicks Otis's ass. And it wouldn't be noteworthy if Otis didn't outweigh Ziggler by like 100 pounds. And Otis just starts jiggling while Dolph slugs him. That seems to power Otis up. And Otis whips Ziggler into the corner a couple times. He dumps him out of the ring. He drives Ziggler face first in the ring post before getting him back in the ring again. Hits a pop-up World's Strongest Slam. And then in this deeply personal match, Otis begins to do the Caterpillar. And Deville jumps on the apron. This distracts Otis, so Ziggler can kick him in the dick. And then Mandy Rose comes out with her stupid music. And Rose slaps Deville before pummeling her. Isn't Deville a MMA lady?
Yes.
Okay. It's believable. So she tosses the bitch in the ring, and this distracts the ref, which I liked. I enjoyed this. So the ref's distracted. So Rose uses the distraction to slide in the ring. She nails Ziggler right in the nuts. And then Otis hits his fucking Caterpillar 1, 2, 3. Then he celebrates with Mandy after the match. and takes her to the back to presumably plow the shit out of her before she changes her mind.
No, Otis was perfect gentleman, so he was gonna get that date first.
That's what he'd have you believe.
Yeah, he's gonna get that date first before he plowed her. Probably
Yeah,
3 dates, 4 dates, 5 dates. Those type of guys that go on mini dates before they do the plowing.
yeah, that's just like on those VH1 shows or whatever where, oh, what'd you guys do last night? Oh, we just sat up and talked.
Yeah. Meanwhile, she's getting her back blown out by someone else because you're not doing it.
Ziggler had it in within 30 minutes. What are you talking about?
Yeah, because you're not doing it. Yeah, and then it gets serious, and you're like, you gotta stop getting fucked by that guy.
Well, then we get a Edge Randy Orton hype video. Edge has returned to the ring after being medically unable to compete for a long ass time, 9 years. Edge got himself in the best shape of his life. He's determined to end his career on his own terms. Randy Orton comes out, tell Edge he's just like a brother to him, and welcomes him back to the WWE. Orton suggests Edge and Rated RKO make one more run at the WWE Tag Division. Edge gets all excited and bright-eyed, and he smiles, and he's like, yeah! But it's a ruse, motherfucker, because Orton hits him with an RKO and gives Edge a concerto. Then we see Beth Phoenix tearing Orton a new asshole. Orton alludes to RKOing Edge for his own good, so his kids can still have a father or some shit. And then Phoenix ends up slapping Orton. Orton RKO's Phoenix.
The reason that he gave Edge a concerto is because he needed to stop Edge because, yeah, he returned at the Royal Rumble, got a big pop, no one saw it coming, ended up being one of like the better Royal Rumble returns ever. But Randy Orton, he says he saw that look in Edge's eyes that he thinks he can come back and do this thing full time, but he's one injury away from being a cripple, basically. So he needed to stop Edge from coming back. So that's why he did the
Almost
concerto.
Okay.
Yes.
Gotcha.
I need to help you.
That's good reasoning. So yeah, he RKO's Phoenix, which I enjoyed. Then Edge says Orton doesn't love him. He's just jealous. And he says he's worked for everything he has while Orton's had everything handed to him. And he challenges Orton to a last man standing match. Says that he's writing this story. And Orton says Edge might be writing the story at WrestleMania, but he's writing the last chapter. So you get Randy Orton versus Edge, last man standing match. And Edge comes out all business. Then it's Orton's turn to come out, and nothing happens but his cool theme song. Then Orton comes from behind Edge in a black hoodie and hits an RKO. Orton was dressed as one of the cameramen the entire time, which is awesome. And the ref made Edge get to his feet before he officially starts the match, and Orton hits a second RKO just as soon as the bell rings. It was kind of funny. No, you have to get to your feet. And he does, and bam, RKO. So Edge cheats by rolling to the floor to get to his feet, which I really hate that.
That's smart.
Orton follows, clobbers Edge with a TV camera, and this sends him over the barricade. And Orton throws Edge around the backstage area. They go into the performance gym area. And he ties Edge up to some CrossFit shit and beats on him. And then he goes to use a weightlifting plate. Edge stops him with a kick. And he just starts beating the shit out of Orton. And he sits Orton on a chair and launches himself at Orton using the chin-up bar, which was really dumb. He also, measured him up in the chair, too, before, just launching himself at him. Really weird. Then Orton tries to murder Edge with a weight sled while the Rated R Superstar is down by a steel wall. And Edge moves out of the way at the last second. They start trading punches, and they fight out to the ring area again. And they're kind of on the side stage thing in the crowd area. And Orton tosses Edge off the side stage, and Edge lands directly onto the barricade. Then they fight to some office area, and Orton just tosses Edge into a bunch of different shit. They fight to a boardroom, and then for some reason they have a shot of a cameraman rushing to Orton and Edge. But even though we've been watching the match the entire time, that was really fucking weird. So then Edge monkey climbs onto the ceiling and delivers an elbow drop to Orton on the boardroom table. And then they fight back through the offices. One of the cameramen got knocked over. I thought they were way too involved in this match. Orton's telling them to move the fuck out of the way. They're chasing shit and huffing and puffing, getting knocked over.
The getting knocked over shot was funny though. I laughed at that. He gets knocked over and they're still rolling with that camera. All you can see is his feet.
Yeah.
I don't know. I laughed at it.
Well, then we jump cut to Orton and Edge fighting in a storage facility. And Orton gets thrown into a ladder. Edge gets thrown into steel steps that just so happen to be lying around. And then they fight in the NXT interview area. Edge starts to shake his arm and rub his neck and looks like he's at the end of his rope. Suddenly he has a look of determination. And he puts Orton on a table that happens to be nearby. He climbs on a ladder that also happens to be nearby. And he climbs on some storage cage thing and he does an elbow drop through the table. And then they fight back through the storage facility onto a pickup truck. Orton does a draping DDT onto the bed of the truck. And I think Orton got the worst of it, if I'm being honest. And then Edge climbs some equipment boxes onto a semi-trailer that's next to the truck. And Orton laughs and follows. So they're on the top of a semi-truck trailer. Edge is all fucked up. Orton's only slightly better. Orton psychs himself up for a punt. And then Edge meets Orton with a spear. Orton manages to get to his feet. Edge goes for another spear, but Orton hits an RKO. Then Orton climbs down the semi just so he can get some chairs. He climbs back up, tells Edge that it's all over soon. He's going to go back to his girls before he goes to concerto him again. The ref pleads with Orton not to go through with the concerto. Orton ignores the ref, but Edge just pops up and makes Orton pass out with some dumbass submission hold. And the ref starts the count. Edge stops the ref and just starts crying. And he nails Orton with a concerto. The ref didn't say a goddamn thing about Edge assassinating Orton. Biased piece of shit. And of course, Orton fails to beat the 10 count. Edge is the winner. And after the match, Edge hugged Orton's corpse and cried again. It's probably the match of WrestleMania.
Yeah, it was definitely a good match. I remember some people complained that maybe it was a little long, but
it didn't feel long. I started watching this last night and I got to this match and I saw how long it was and I'm like, I'm not ready for that. So this was the first thing I watched this morning. And it was not long at all.
Yeah, I mean, people were complaining it was long, but I thought it had to be long because they were telling. First of all, they fought all over wherever they were. The PC, they fought all over it.
Sure did.
But it was longer because they were actually selling, the stuff they were doing. You don't just pop up and go to your next spot. Like,
right.
They were selling it, so that's why it took so long. They were in a fight.
The selling for the most part in this WrestleMania was exquisite.
Yeah. I think when I initially watched it, I didn't appreciate it as much as I do the second time through. Like, the aspect of not having a crowd, the selling, the pain, the trash talk. This is good.
Yeah, I don't know, when Orton was climbing up to meet Edge on the semi and just how long it took him and he was just dragging his body. Like, fuck, man. I felt it. It was just like when Rollins rolled into the ring after he was wheezing.
Yeah, so those are just some underrated touches.
But yeah, definitely the match. My favorite match of the pay-per-view.
For me, overall, I think it's probably the Boneyard match.
That's a close second. That was better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Well, Gronkowski's butt buddy Mojo Rawley gets jumped by the entire roster. And then Gronkowski jumps on everybody from a balcony and pins Rawley, then runs away like a little girl. Gronkowski is now the 24/7 champion. I don't miss that at all.
Yeah, that gimmick. The less we have of it, the better.
Yes. Well, then Austin Theory and an evil Mexican faced the Solo Cups for the Raw Tag titles. The Cups definitely drank their Red Bull before the match. And Theory looked like a child. Jesus Christ. Zelina Vega was also present. The evil Mexican stripped off his pants for some reason, just in the middle of the match, and made a really big deal about it. Ford jumped on everybody on the floor from the top rope, screamed, "This is WrestleMania." Then the evil Mexican jumped on everybody from the top rope and screamed, "This is WrestleMania" as well. It's like they were both having a competition to see who would be more obnoxious. And then Theory hit his move on Dawkins, and then Ford hit a splash, and Dawkins got the pin. I think Ford needs to lay off the drugs. And in theory, the evil Mexican and Vega beat up the Cups after the match. Belair came out and beat up Vega. And then Ford openly just simped for Belair as she was doing a retarded little hair twirl shit.
I mean, it's his wife.
Crawling at her feet, just looking up at her. Come on. Men don't do that.
Can you simp for your wife?
You can do nice things for your wife and treat her like a lady. You don't crawl on the ground at her feet while she's twirling her stupid fake hair.
Well, don't tell him how to love his wife.
So Titus O'Neil is revealed as the new WrestleMania host. He had 0 impact. And then we had another girls match for the girls title.
This would have been that elimination 5-way match, whatever, that I talked about earlier. Lacey Evans, Bayley, Sasha Banks, Naomi, and Tamina. Nobody meaner than Tamina. And I think that's about the order they got eliminated in. Tamina gets pinned by all the ladies in the match because, she's strong. Naomi gets...
Where's Nia Jax?
She's probably not with the company at this point.
Okay.
Because, she got released for a couple years. Naomi, she gets eliminated. Sasha Banks gets eliminated. So we're down to Lacey Evans versus Bayley. Winner takes home the title. And Bayley wins. Because Lacey Evans never gets a title.
I caught the end of this. I actually thought Lacey was going to win.
I thought so too. And I didn't remember because she's flopped so many times, but I think she was a face at this point.
She definitely was a face. And Bayley and Sasha, they had their thing. You can kind of see where Sasha would think that Bayley just fucked her, even though she helped her. And so I thought Sasha was going to come back and fuck Bayley at least. But no.
She did not.
John Cena and Bray Wyatt had a hype video. Cena comes out one SmackDown to say that it's time that WrestleMania go on without him, because he knows the fans are passionate about the future of WrestleMania, and he is too. Then The Fiend appears behind Cena as he's making his exit, just to point at the WrestleMania sign. Cena tips his cap to The Fiend. Then it cuts to Cena saying some shit on Raw. Then Bray Wyatt appears, talks about losing to Cena at WrestleMania 30. Says if it wasn't for Cena, the Firefly Funhouse wouldn't exist. Wyatt says Cena broke him, but The Fiend put him back together. So challenges Cena to a Firefly Funhouse match. Cena says that he's going to finish what he started 6 years ago, and the most overhyped, overvalued, overprivileged superstar that ever existed. Wyatt also attacks Cena with puppets and jump scares. Then we have John Cena versus The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, in a Firefly Funhouse match. So Cena makes his entrance. He shimmies around the stage like an idiot, and then says, "Welcome to WrestleMania," also like an idiot. And then Wyatt's Firefly Funhouse cuts into Cena saying WrestleMania. Wyatt lets us know that we're about to see some real shit. Says there's another world that exists beyond our realm of comprehension. A world where our darkest urges no longer are kept secret. A world where gods, monsters, angels, and demons are neighbors. Who are we really? And why do we do the things that we do? And Wyatt wants to take a look at who John Cena really is, and reveals that Cena's facing his most dangerous opponent yet, himself. And Wyatt welcomes us to Firefly Funhouse and leaves through a door. Then Cena is just standing there, and a puppet appears. Tells Cena that Wyatt just went through the door. Cena goes through the door. And Cena steps into a dark room. It's all black. Then a Vince McMahon puppet appears. Demands that Cena show him ruthless aggression or he's fired. Then Wyatt's in the wrestling ring. He challenges anyone to come out and face him. And video of Kurt Angle issuing the same challenge is spliced in. So I guess the idea is they're reenacting Cena's debut. Then out comes Cena in the old school SmackDown entrance ramp. He's dressed like the prototype. And then he tries to slap Wyatt like he did with Angle. And Wyatt keeps ducking it like a fucking Looney Tune. He's talking shit. And then Wyatt runs out of the ring. And Cena follows. Then it cuts to Saturday Night This actually made me laugh. Cuts to Saturday night's main event. The Vince puppet and Jesse Ventura Vulture puppet are on commentary. Wyatt does an 80s promo and brings out his tag partner Cena to also do an 80s promo. As Cena is doing curls the entire time, and then he just goes insane with the curls, like they speed it up. And then he tries to slap Wyatt again, but he can't move his arms because his muscles are burned out.
Hold on, we gotta point out the name of his tag team partner because it was funny. His name was Johnny Largemeat.
Well, let me jump back to SmackDown because why not? Cena's the doctor of thugonomics, and he starts to freestyle. Wyatt does not react, and Looney Tune music plays. Then Wyatt says some bullshit about Cena being a bully or something and wants Cena to freestyle some more. Then Cena tosses nuts into Bray Wyatt and tries to attack him. And Wyatt teleports. He wraps a chain around his fist and levels Cena. Wyatt then talks shit to Cena from his swamp, says he's going to rewrite his story. And then they're back in the ring. Wyatt goes for his sister Abigail, but he just lets Cena go. Says that's not enough to end this. And he hands Cena a chair, gets on his knees, and Cena goes to cream Wyatt with the chair, but Wyatt teleports again. Then we cut to fucking Monday Nitro. I don't know what that has to do with Cena, but here we go. Wyatt is supposed to be Eric Bischoff. He's wearing NWO Wolfpack shirt, by the way. And Cena comes out wearing NWO Hollywood colors, strumming the world title belt like Hogan. And a Vince puppet cuts in and says, "That's such good shit."
Which is probably the best line of it all.
Yeah, that's true.
Good shit.
So Cena's getting in the ring, and then he just stops doing the entrance, and he starts pummeling Wyatt, and then Wyatt turns into a puppet. And then the Fiend appears behind Cena, locks into Mandible Claw, hits his sister Abigail, then locks in the Mandible Claw again. And Bray Wyatt counts the pin, then turns into the Fiend again, and Cena teleports away.
Literally.
Then they cut to Titus O'Neil, who appropriately says he had no idea what the fuck we just watched. Go ahead.
It was entertaining. I can't lie. I was entertained through the whole thing. It wasn't a match. Like, I remember when we were all watching it, it's like, so was that even a match? And like, are we saying that Bray Wyatt won? The Fiend won? Is that what we're gathering here? But I don't know. I didn't watch it as a match. I just watched it as like a spectacle or something. Honestly, to this day, I don't know what it actually is. But I enjoyed it.
Well, I watched it as a match because they built it as a fucking Firefly Funhouse match. And all this did for me was reinforce all of the things that I've said about Bray Wyatt. This was atrocious.
Oh, yeah.
This was not only was this hard to follow, the references to Cena's past weren't even his fucking past.
Yes, it was.
No, there was the debut, and then there was the Dr. Thugonomics part. There was an 80s promo part that had nothing to do with Cena. And then there was the NWO part.
Well, yes, some of it wasn't.
It had nothing to fucking do with Cena. It was just there for a cool little visual.
Like the 80s thing, that was Muscle Man Bray Wyatt in the 80s. And his big thing is, you just need big muscles to be successful. Because, he was always like fat until he came back as the
No, he was always fat.
So I don't know. I guess Vince really hammered over his head that you're fat. So he that Muscle Man Bray was always fixated on making fun of that or poking fun at that, like, oh, you just gotta have big muscles. You gotta keep working out and have big muscles.
Yeah, there was no logic. It was hard to follow. There was puppets. And on top of everything else, Bray Wyatt counted his own pin.
Yes, he did.
So.
And Cena just literally disappeared.
Yeah, he teleported. I don't know. Such a stupid. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck they were going with. It's like all of the good things about the Boneyard match could be said about all the bad things about this match.
Yeah. But again, I don't know if you can consider it a match, seeing as there was only two wrestling related things that
Oh,
happened.
Jesus.
Hit with the chain and then the ground and pound and then the mandible claw and Sister Abigail's.
Right.
Like
I guess
that's
the only good thing is it wasn't that long.
yeah.
But I'm glad we'll never have to see anything like this again. Well, then we get a McIntyre Lesnar hype video. This might be jumbled because I just watched that shit. McIntyre says it's his time to live up to his chosen one label. Says he's just as big, fast, and strong as Lesnar. Heyman says the main event is a sham. McIntyre's a fraud. There's no way in hell he's beaten the greatest champion who has ravaged the WWE. And then we get Drew McIntyre versus Brock Lesnar, WWE Championship. And it starts with Lesnar shooting on McIntyre. McIntyre hits a Claymore right off the bat. And McIntyre goes for another Claymore. Brock sidesteps and then hits a shit ton of German suplexes and an F5. And McIntyre kicks out at 1. And then Lesnar hits another F5. McIntyre kicks out at 2. Lesnar hits a third consecutive F5. Fuck you. McIntyre kicks out of that too. It's like he's making up for last year when he was the guy that kicked out of the guy that got beat by the one finish.
Yeah, he's getting them in now.
So Heyman tells Brock to just keep hitting him with F5s because McIntyre can't keep kicking out, which is good logic, I guess. So Lesnar goes for his fourth F5. McIntyre escapes, hits 3 Claymores, 1, 2, 3. And McIntyre celebrates alone as champion, setting up a whole year of bitching about it.
Yep, unfortunately, the shutdown is in full effect at this point. His whole title reign is in the shutdown, and then loses the title when the fans are back.
I think this match suffered from being so short. I think this could have been a really great match if it was longer.
Yeah, I mean, this was peak. What Lesnar's matches have become is just like power move, which again is, I think it's entertaining, but they're gonna go quick because you're hitting haymakers left and right.
Oh no, I think they could have had a really good match.
Yeah.
There wasn't really anything to write home about this WrestleMania. Sammy, Daniel Bryan, Edge and Orton, Owens and Rollins. That's about it. You can have everything else. Oh yeah, Undertaker and Styles.
Yeah, I just remember it was more so like, I don't know, we're watching WrestleMania and the world's shutting down. I don't know, there's just a lot happening outside of WrestleMania. It's probably hard for them too, because yeah, it was shutting down.
Yeah, I don't know, man. They got those empty airports now.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it would depend, because I don't think Roman Reigns is affected as much as like Tozawa.
Yeah, he took his ball and went home at this point.
Oh, Roman?
Yeah, he's like, oh, I'll check you guys when this is over. But he was, auto compromised or whatever.
Right. Well, that was WrestleMania 36. The following episode of Raw, or on Raw, showed the hidden WrestleMania main event, in which Drew McIntyre retained the WWE Championship over Big Show. It's roughly 25 minutes after McIntyre defeated Brock Lesnar.
Yep.
Was it any good? Probably not.
No, I don't remember.
The Street Profits faced Theory and the Evil Mexican in a rematch for the titles and retained once again through disqualification, thanks to Vega. Edge and Randy Orton made their post-WrestleMania appearances later. Orton stated that at WrestleMania, the better man won, but questioned whether or not the better wrestler had actually won, noting that at the Royal Rumble and the Last Man Standing matches were non-traditional matches. And Orton challenged Edge to a normal singles match at Backlash, which Orton won. During the match, Edge legitimately tore his tricep, kind of reinforcing Orton's gripe to begin the feud.
And that was actually billed as the greatest wrestling match ever. Like, that was the name of it.
The Backlash match?
Yeah, that was the name of it. The greatest wrestling match ever.
Like once in a lifetime?
Yeah.
Where after recovering from his tricep tear, Edge returned at the 2021 Royal Rumble, where he and Orton entered at number 1 and number 2. The two brawled at ringside, and Edge injured Orton's leg, taking Orton out of the majority of the match. Orton returned at the closing moments of the match, where he attempted to eliminate Edge. However, Edge countered and eliminated Orton to win the Men's Royal Rumble. Orton then faced Edge in a rubber match the following night on Raw, where, thanks to a distraction by Alexa Bliss, It's part of a storyline between Orton and Bliss, and the Fiend, Bray Wyatt. Edge defeated Orton, putting an end to their rivalry. Which I don't know how a concerto to the fucking head on a semi-truck isn't the end of a rivalry, but there you go. On SmackDown, Bray Wyatt interrupted the new champion Braun Strowman after a match. Wyatt reminded Strowman that it was he who brought him to the WWE and with his old Wyatt family stable. Wyatt, who had lost to Goldberg at the Super Showdown, then stated he wanted to take his title back. Strowman accepted the challenge, and the match was scheduled for Money in the Bank. It was against Wyatt's normal self instead of the Fiend. Stupid. So I guess that's the only way he can lose, is if he's Bray Wyatt. So Tucker faced Dolph Ziggler in a rematch from SmackDown prior to WrestleMania. And on a later SmackDown, Otis defeated Ziggler again to qualify for the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. Then it would be 2 years before Roman Reigns and Goldberg would have their originally scheduled match for the Universal Championship. Reigns made his return at the 2020 SummerSlam and won the title at Payback. Reigns remained champion for the next year and into 2022. And then Goldberg confronted Reigns. They set up a match for the two at Elimination Chamber. And at the event, Reigns defeated Goldberg to retain. It's a good deal. And then the Raw, SmackDown, and pay-per-views continue to be broadcast through the Performance Center until August before relocating to Orlando's Amway Center with a new virtual fan viewing experience called the Thunderdome.
The Thunderdome.
They then moved to Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg, Florida, and then Yuengling Center in Tampa. And they also released several talents due to budget cuts during the pandemic. This included Hall of Famer Kurt Angle, Rusev, Drake Maverick, Zack Ryder, Kurt Hawkins, Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows, Heath Slater, Eric Young, Rowan, Sarah Logan, No Way Jose, Mike Chioda, Mike Kanellis, Maria Kanellis, EC3, Aiden English, Leo Rush, the Colognes, Cain Velasquez, and many other behind-the-scenes employees. However, following his loss at finals of the interim NXT Cruiserweight Championship tournament, Maverick was re-signed with the company for some reason. And it was reported that WWE reached out to some other release talent, though they wanted to pay him lower.
Well, you see, Maverick, he went viral on social media after his release because he was literally crying about WWE was his dream and he got fired.
Jesus Christ.
He was literally crying.
He victimed his way back into a job.
Well, he didn't necessarily. He just put out a video after he got released, and he's crying about that being his dream.
Yeah, and then the ass pats that he got and all the outrage. Oh, why is Drake Maverick? You guys are mean.
Yeah, so yeah, he garnered so much attention.
Yeah, he got victimed back into a position at WWE.
But he didn't necessarily ask for it. It just
he did so. He posted the fucking video of him crying.
He didn't ask for his job back. He didn't ask for another chance.
What do you think was going to happen? Oh, I'm crying because I lost my job. Me and 20 other fucking people got released. But I'm crying. I'm special.
Call it crazy, but some of these lower wrestlers have a following, have fans. So they release
post something. I'll be at this place, or hey, I got my 90 days. Just hold tight. I'll be back. Don't worry. You haven't heard the last of me. That's fine. You don't fucking post a video of yourself crying like a little bitch. Especially when you were in nothing.
Well, if you heard the video, he said it was his dream.
So? It's everybody's dream. It's most of their dreams to be in the WWE.
Okay.
Well, unless it's the women.
He's passionate about it.
Okay. He's not the only one.
He's not, but
he knows what he was doing.
I don't think he did.
Yeah.
I think
he probably didn't know it was going to lead to another job, but he knew he was going to get fucking victim points.
Why would he know that was...
Because he posted the video of him crying. You don't post a video of you crying without wanting ass pats or expecting ass pats.
That's more so what he was going for. He was just looking for don't worry, keep your head up, just keep working. But yeah, it got so much attention. It was like,
yeah,
I guess we're going to have to bring you back. Like news started to catch on to it and everything. Like, oh, WWE released this heartbroken...
Well, look at him now.
And then, yeah, they brought him back and then he got fired again. Did he cry the second time? I don't know.
Probably.
And he was stuck in the 24/7 title.
Oh, yeah.
That's what he got brought back to. He was no, I take that back. He got a push when he came back too, like an actual like beating people push. I think he won the cruiserweight title. Didn't you say that?
I believe so, yeah.
So yeah, that him winning the title was the result of him crying from getting released.
Well, then WrestleMania 37 was initially announced for SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California. And then it was reported that WWE would consider relocating the event to Raymond James Stadium in order to allow for in-person attendance at the reduced capacity, which was not possible under California's health orders. And then WWE officially announced the move, and it was the first WWE event to have ticketed fans in attendance during the pandemic with limited capacity. And yeah, they had safety protocols. And they returned to live touring in mid-July of that year. But yep, WrestleMania 36. And we have WrestleMania 37, night one, to look forward to. That is, of course, in Tampa, like I just said. The last match for night one is Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. So that'll be fun to hear about. But before that, we get out of the WWE land and go to WCW Starrcade 1998. Took place in the MCI Center, Washington, D.C. The main event was a no disqualification match between Goldberg and Kevin Nash for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. I remember their feud began when Nash won the Battle Royal at World War III.
I'm nervous.
Other matches included Diamond Dallas Page versus The Giant. We have Eric Bischoff versus Ric Flair for some reason.
Was he GM or
I don't know.
like that? And he was.
I can't remember. He was president or some shit. They didn't have GMs.
Yeah, and he was begging Eric Bischoff to face him for the like. I don't remember exactly, but I do remember very vividly the promo where he basically stripped down to his underwear and he was elbow dropping money in his clothes.
Yeah, he did do that.
And then he was throwing the shoes, and Gene Okerlund was like, "There goes the shoes." I remember that promo very vividly.
Well, hopefully they replay it if that's the case, but I don't know. We have Conan versus Chris Jericho for the television title. And then the last match to look forward to is Billy Kidman versus the LWO for the Cruiserweight title. He has a triple threat match with Rey Mysterio and Juventud, and then a match with Eddie Guerrero. And yep, that is it.
All right. And I think he actually even did the rolling knee. This going back to Flair. He even did the rolling knee on his
blazer.
Yeah. That took it over the top because he would always do the elbow drop, but then he actually did the knee.
Well, that's when he was really pissed.
Yeah, and he rolled through it. Like normally you would just drop on your knee and that's it, but he rolled through the knee.